Natural disasters are stark reminders of our planet's power and the fragility of human societies. These events, often sudden and devastating, test our resilience and capacity to adapt. Recent years have witnessed a surge in extreme weather phenomena, from raging wildfires to catastrophic floods. Among these, cyclone-induced landslides stand out as particularly destructive, often striking with terrifying speed and force. Understanding the factors that contribute to these disasters is not merely an academic exercise. It is crucial for safeguarding lives, livelihoods, and our future. The fury of nature, while awe-inspiring, carries profound lessons for humanity. By studying these events, we gain insights into the delicate balance of our ecosystems and the consequences of disrupting them. Climate change, deforestation, and unsustainable development practices have all been implicated in exacerbating the impact of natural disasters. Examining these connections is essential for developing effective mitigation strategies. Furthermore, understanding the societal and operational factors that influence disaster preparedness and response can mean the difference between resilience and collapse. The recent landslide crisis in northeast India serves as a poignant case study, highlighting the complex interplay of environmental degradation, extreme weather, and human vulnerability. This region, characterized by its unique topography and rich biodiversity, has long been susceptible to landslides, particularly during the monsoon season. However, the convergence of a severe cyclonic storm with existing environmental stresses resulted in a disaster of unprecedented scale. Examining this tragedy offers valuable insights into the factors that amplify the impact of natural disasters and underscores the urgent need for proactive measures to mitigate future risks. The lessons learned from this and other such events extend far beyond the immediate disaster zone. They serve as a wake-up call for communities worldwide, prompting a reassessment of our relationship with the natural world and our preparedness for the challenges of a changing climate. By understanding the causes and consequences of these events, we can strive to build more resilient societies, better equipped to withstand nature's fury and protect the well-being of current and future generations. Landslides, often triggered by heavy rainfall, earthquakes, or volcanic activity, represent a dramatic reshaping of the Earth's surface. These events, characterized by the rapid downslope movement of soil, rock, and debris, leave lasting scars on the landscape, impacting both natural ecosystems and human communities. The environmental consequences of landslides extend far beyond the immediate area of impact, affecting water quality, biodiversity, and the overall health of ecosystems. One of the most significant environmental impacts of landslides is soil erosion and sediment transport. As hillsides collapse, vast quantities of soil and rock are dislodged and carried downstream by rivers and streams. This sudden influx of sediment can have devastating consequences for aquatic life, smothering fish-spawning grounds, clogging waterways, and altering the physical characteristics of rivers and lakes. Increased sedimentation can also reduce water quality, making it unsafe for drinking and irrigation. Furthermore, landslides can fragment and destroy habitats, leading to a loss of biodiversity. Forests, grasslands, and other ecosystems that provide shelter and sustenance to a wide array of species can be decimated in an instant. This sudden loss of habitat can disrupt ecological balances, leading to population declines and even local extinctions. In regions with high endemism, where species are found nowhere else on Earth, landslides can pose a significant threat to global biodiversity. The environmental impacts of landslides are not always immediate or readily apparent. The altered landscape can become more susceptible to future landslides and erosion, creating a cycle of degradation that is difficult to break. Additionally, the release of stored carbon from buried vegetation and soils can contribute to greenhouse gas emissions, exacerbating climate change. Understanding these long-term consequences is crucial for developing sustainable land management practices and mitigating the environmental footprint of human activities in landslide-prone areas. Northeast India, a region of breathtaking natural beauty and cultural diversity, is also a land shaped by powerful geological forces. Situated at the confluence of the Indian, Eurasian, and Burmese tectonic plates, the region is highly susceptible to earthquakes and landslides. The steep slopes of the Himalayas, coupled with heavy monsoon rainfall, create conditions ripe for these natural hazards. In recent years, The frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, including cyclones, have further exacerbated the risk of landslides, leading to tragic consequences. The devastating landslides that struck northeast India serve as a stark reminder of the region's vulnerability to climate-related disasters. A powerful cyclone, packing torrential rains and gale-force winds, made landfall, unleashing its fury on the region's fragile slopes. The heavy downpours, exceeding of rainfall in some areas, saturated the soil, weakening the hillsides and triggering widespread landslides. Villages were buried under tons of mud and debris, roads and bridges were washed away, and entire communities were cut off from the outside world. The scale of the disaster was unprecedented, affecting thousands of people across multiple states. The combination of heavy rainfall, steep slopes, and human settlements in vulnerable areas proved to be a deadly cocktail. The cyclone's impact was further compounded by deforestation and unsustainable development practices, which have stripped hillsides of their natural vegetation cover, leaving them more susceptible to erosion and landslides. The tragedy highlighted the urgent need for a multi-pronged approach to disaster risk reduction in the region, encompassing environmental conservation, infrastructure development, and community-based early warning systems. The landslides in northeast India underscore the growing threat posed by climate change to mountainous regions around the world. As global temperatures rise, extreme weather events such as intense cyclones and heavy rainfall are projected to become more frequent and severe. This trend, coupled with ongoing deforestation and unsustainable development, will likely increase the risk of landslides and other climate-related hazards, putting millions of lives at risk. It is imperative that we heed the lessons from this tragedy and take proactive measures to strengthen the resilience of communities in the face of these growing threats. The aftermath of a natural disaster reveals the true human cost of these events. Beyond the immediate casualties lie countless stories of loss, displacement, and the struggle to rebuild shattered lives. In the case of cyclone-induced landslides in northeast India, the impact on communities has been particularly devastating, exposing the vulnerabilities of marginalized populations and the long road to recovery. The sudden and violent nature of landslides often leaves little time for evacuation, resulting in significant loss of life. Homes are buried under tons of mud and debris, trapping families inside. Those who survive the initial impact face a harrowing ordeal, with injuries, trauma, and the loss of loved ones. The psychological toll of such events can be profound and long-lasting, requiring ongoing support and counseling. The economic impact of landslides can be equally devastating. Farmland is destroyed, crops are washed away, and livelihoods are upended. Transportation infrastructure is often severely damaged, cutting off access to markets, schools, and healthcare facilities. This isolation can exacerbate the challenges of recovery, making it difficult to deliver aid and essential services to those in need. Furthermore, landslides can displace entire communities, forcing families into temporary shelters and disrupting social networks. The loss of homes, possessions, and familiar surroundings can create a sense of displacement and uncertainty, particularly for children and the elderly. Rebuilding shattered lives and communities requires a long-term commitment to providing not only material assistance, but also emotional support and opportunities for economic recovery. In the immediate aftermath of a natural disaster, the response is often a race against time and nature. The first 72 hours are critical, with search and rescue efforts taking priority. In the case of the northeast India landslides, the remoteness of the affected areas and the scale of the devastation posed significant logistical challenges. Rescue workers faced treacherous conditions, with blocked roads, landslides, and the constant threat of further slips. The Indian Army, disaster response forces, and local communities worked tirelessly to reach those trapped, often using rudimentary tools and their bare hands to clear debris. Helicopters played a crucial role in airlifting the injured and delivering essential supplies to cut-off areas. The response to the landslides highlighted both the strengths and limitations of India's disaster management capabilities. The country has made significant strides in recent years in developing specialized response forces and early warning systems. However, the scale of the disaster in northeast India tested these systems, revealing the need for greater investment in infrastructure, equipment, and training, particularly in remote and disaster-prone areas. The response also underscored the importance of community-based disaster preparedness. Local communities, often the first responders in such situations, played a vital role in rescuing survivors and providing immediate assistance. Their knowledge of the terrain and the needs of their communities proved invaluable in the initial stages of the disaster. Strengthening community-based disaster risk reduction programs, empowering communities with the knowledge and resources to prepare for and respond to such events, is crucial for building resilience in the face of future disasters. The devastating landslides in northeast India serve as a stark reminder of the urgent need for proactive measures to mitigate the risks posed by natural disasters. While we cannot prevent these events from occurring, we can take steps to reduce their impact and build more resilient communities. A comprehensive approach to disaster risk reduction requires a combination of preparedness, mitigation, and adaptation strategies. Strengthening early warning systems is crucial for saving lives. Investing in weather forecasting, monitoring systems for rainfall and ground stability, and effective communication channels can provide valuable lead time for communities to evacuate to safer ground. Public awareness campaigns and community-based drills can educate people about the risks of landslides and equip them with the knowledge and skills to respond effectively. Mitigating the factors that contribute to landslide susceptibility is equally important. Sustainable land management practices, such as reforestation, terracing, and controlled drainage, can help stabilize slopes and reduce erosion. Enforcing building codes and zoning regulations can prevent construction in high-risk areas, minimizing the potential for loss of life and property. Furthermore, investing in climate change adaptation strategies is essential for addressing the long-term risks posed by extreme weather events. This includes reducing greenhouse gas emissions, promoting sustainable development practices, and building the resilience of infrastructure and communities to withstand the impacts of a changing climate. International collaboration and knowledge sharing are crucial for developing and implementing effective adaptation measures. The lessons learned from the Northeast India landslides extend far beyond the immediate disaster zone. They underscore the interconnectedness of environmental degradation, climate change, and human vulnerability. By embracing a proactive approach to disaster risk reduction, investing in preparedness, mitigation, and adaptation, we can strive to create a safer and more sustainable future for all.